Hey folks, Rob Flux here again with another Real Deal in the Field. Again with Liana. Liana, you're smashing these out. You've presented a couple of real deals. This is the second Real Deal in the Field. You've just literally gone under contract with this weekend, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right, at auction last Saturday.
At auction. Now, buying at auction, folks, when you're doing property development is a scary process. So you want to make sure that you have done all your homework up front. So what homework did you do on this site, and what were the issues that you identified? And how did you know that they could be solved?
Yeah, perfect. All right, so there are a couple of things that we did to explore all of the issues and challenges before auction so that we were confident in our numbers. So firstly, looking at the front of the property, you can see there's quite large trees out the front that
some native gum trees.
Native trees, yep. So and that did deter some buyers, is what I've been told. However, I knew that they're not protected. There's no landscape overlay, but we will try and keep these as much as possible with smart placement of the driveway because they are quite beautiful.
So they are well positioned, Liana. I guess there's a lovely gap between them, and what you're looking to do is actually put the driveway kind of right in the centre here. So there's a thing, folks, called permeable concrete. So when you're actually running concrete over tree roots and that sort of thing, you can actually keep the trees nice and healthy by having concrete that water actually passes through. That way you get the, I guess, the beautiful aspect, but you also get, I guess, the and lovely entranceway as well, but also get to protect the trees as well. So that was problem number one. So that would have scared a few people off. You did your homework on that. You knew that the trees weren't protected. So if it ended up being a particular problem, you could take them down. They're only just inside the boundary, so they're outside the building footprint. So that was never going to be an issue, even if you had to keep them. What other problems did you have on site?
So just to my left, there's a bus stop. So the bus stop itself, it's just made up of a concrete hard stand and a sign. So my thoughts were, if the bus stop had to stay, we could work around it. We could place the driveway offset from the bus stop, no problem. Or if we did have to relocate the bus stop, because we do have such a wide frontage, there is space to move it, and because there's no structure, it wouldn't be such a costly exercise if we did have to relocate it further down the block.
Yeah, absolutely. So folks, if you have a bus stop and that sort of thing outside the front of your property, one of the things to consider is it's not where the pole is that actually matters. It's actually the length of the bus and where the bus will actually stop. So in this particular instance, it'd probably stop about where Liana is standing, which would potentially block the driveway. So that could be an issue. But as Liana said, massively large frontage, and so if you're going to be moving it, council tend to be quite favourable if you're moving it, if the owner where you're moving it in front of is acceptable of the fact that it's going to go there. Now in this instance, Liana is the owner, so she has the ability to actually relocate it, starting around about here and then extending past and still be all the way out the front of her property. So she's only moved it from impacting her to impacting her. Council's going to be quite receptive of that as a solution, as a worst case scenario, but we're confident that leaving it where it is probably going to work.
That's right, yep.
So in prepping to come into an auction, Liana, auctions are purchasing unconditional, so there's a lot of work that needs to go in pre-preparing, doing all your due diligence up front, because you don't get due diligence clauses or anything like that. So what's some of the work that you did in preparation for knowing what you're going to do at auction?
Cool. So in addition to investigating the trees and the bus stop constraints, we also engaged our architect to provide a very rough layout of the unit. So we wanted to confirm that our numbers were going to work, so we needed to be confident that we were going to fit the number of units that were required for us to get our margins. So our architect was able to present an option with 8 units on the site, and that suited our criteria.
So folks, that's called either a yield analysis or a massing diagram, depending upon where you are located in the country. And that's not necessarily, hey, where's the kitchen, where's the, what's the entire floor plan, but it's really making sure that you've got the the things like car parking, turning circles, rubbish, those sorts of things actually taken care of, open space, and you've actually got a footprint that's large enough to build something. So get 8 out of that, which would yield you approximately how much money?
750 grand in today's market.
750
Yep.
and 750 in today's market, and that's well spotted. And the market is going up, so that's 8 times of something potentially going up. So haven't factored in the fact that the market swing is going to, I guess, be what you're relying in for profit, but knowing the market doing what it's doing, that's more cream on the top sort of thing. So I guess good outcome. Now, what sort of advice would you give someone if they were going to be buying at auction? Oh, actually, one question before that. What made you so certain that you wanted to buy this at auction? So when the hammer came down, like, what made you know that this was the property for you?
Yeah, so I guess doing all that due diligence prior to auction and being confident in being able to resolve those challenges and knowing that we could get the yield that we needed, that was the first tick. Being at auction as well, we knew exactly where we were willing to go to as far as purchase price, and we saw a lot of value that morning of the auction. So we were the only bidders, and we got it for I believe, under market value. So very happy with that result.
So how do you know it's under market value?
Because I'm an area expert.
There you go.
Yep,
so that's the key, folks, is you've got to be an area expert. You know what actually represents value. Now, Liana was quietly saying that she believes that she's got it at least 150 odd K under market, which means that even if she's missed something in due diligence, you've got 150K of fat that nobody else would have had, which means you've got the leeway, plus you've got the potential for that market uplift as well. Mm-hmm. So no matter what the outcome is here, you've got a hell of a lot of fat built into the deal, and I guess it's going to go well. So some parting words of wisdom for anyone wanting to buy at auction.
Do your due diligence up front, investigate every little possible challenge that there is, and be confident in your numbers, know the area well, and be able to pick that value, and don't go above what you're willing to pay. Don't let emotions take over.
Know where your numbers are.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Liana, for sharing another one of your real deals in the field, and we can't wait to see this as a finished product when you present that at one of our meetups at a real deal. So until then, folks, we're going to catch you at the next real deal in the field. Bye for now.